Welcome to another chapter of strategy. And let's take a look at the last chapter today, which is chapter number 10. So let's take a look at that. And this chapter number 10, let me just put some blank slides here. All right, so this chapter is about strategy, superior strategy execution, another path to competitive advantage. Okay, so let's start because the goal of any strategy is to have a competitive advantage. So let's look at what that basically means. Competitive advantage is you just, oh, okay. Competitive advantage is basically the company is making more money, right? That's what it is. And how do you get competitive advantage? I mean, you could get competitive advantage based on quality, and there's also differentiation, or you could get it based on your type of products and services that you're providing that are unique that nobody else is providing, or you could provide it based on low cost. So you get a competitive advantage based on that. And basically internally the source of your competitive advantage is your capabilities, meaning you are capable of doing, see, I can spell. All right, so capabilities, you get competitive advantage from capabilities, and you get capabilities from your resources. Okay. So your competitive advantage is this, your quality, price, product or service or low cost. And the way you get competitive advantage is through your capabilities. Capabilities is actually your resources, you're utilizing them in the best possible manner. That's what gives you capabilities. And if you have capabilities nobody else can duplicate, and they're rare and very difficult for people to duplicate, then you have a competitive advantage right here. Okay, so let's look at since everything is based on the resources you have, let's look at what are the resources a company has. So one of the resource is people, right? People meaning workers that work for the company. And under this, you could even add management style. It could be the culture that is there in the company. And over here, you could add other assets, the money in the bank or the ability to get loans, the brand, factory, all the hard assets, copyright, trademarks, so on and so forth. So basically, the way you get capabilities is if you combine these resources, basically your people and your assets, in such a manner that whatever project you're working on, it's sufficiently funded, and there are right type of people that are hired for it, then you're going to get capabilities, and capabilities give you competitive advantage. So let's focus on people for now. Let me just get over here. So you want the right type of people. You want the people with right skills, right attitude. I mean, mentioning attitude over here that is something that money really can't buy. If there are people that have the skills but they don't have the right attitude, then they're not going to be as productive. Also, that actually comes from the culture. Let me give you an example of the culture of a company. Like I used to work for AT&T, and that is the time AT&T was this AT&T, and it had the blue and the white stripes, the globe. Now the new AT&T is like this with the opposite type of stripes. So this is like the globe. And AT&T spent tons of money changing from this to this. Some estimates are $200 million or something. So what was this AT&T? They changed from this to this. Actually, the new AT&T is not even old AT&T. There's a company called SBC that bought this company, AT&T, and then since SBC was not that popular, they changed the company name to AT&T. Okay. So let's look at the culture. AT&T, anybody who has lived in New Jersey and who has some kind of a computer background, chances are 1 out of 3 people have worked for an AT&T. That's how AT&T, that's how big AT&T was back in the dinosaurs age. And I'm from that age too. So, so the story about AT&T is like when I was working for AT&T, my manager would, come in very, like let's say around 11 o'clock every day. And guess what time we used to come in? Usually around 10:50, 10:55, a few minutes before she came in. And she would leave around 3 o'clock. And guess what? We would also leave right after she left. And there was something that happened that was even more awesome, and that is she was allowed to telecommute. And guess what? So we didn't even have to come to work. So that's a bad culture. And the reason AT&T could afford to do that is that time they were charging tons of money for making phone calls. Like if I remember to India, it was like $5 a minute. So all I could do is, call up and say, hey, hi, hello, how are you? Thanks, bye. All right. So $5 right there. So AT&T, but after the deregulations, they needed to get competitive. So this new AT&T is actually supposed to be lean, mean, and more flexible. So that's what the culture is. So if you want to make sure you want the company to go in the right direction, you want to make sure that the culture is right. So you have managers, backing up a little bit. So you have managers that actually promote or create the right culture. They hire people, and actually you could hire people with right skills, or you could train people that may not have the skills. But you need managers that can do that. So to cultivate a culture that encourages excellence, so that people are actually doing things that are important and things that make sense for the company's long-term vision and mission. Okay. So this part is important. And again, managers, and I know a lot of you are actually do want to be managers. So the way a manager needs to deal with people is, and I've talked to this to some of you in your professional plan, is, I mean, the days are gone where the management style was dictatorship. The top management would tell you what to do, and you're supposed to do that. So the management style in those days was, let's look at the management style of a small company, and I'm going to come back to that. For a small company, the management style would be like this. So you have the owner, and then you have a bunch of employees. So this is a very centralized approach. The advantage of this type of management style is the decisions are made pretty fast because it's one person that's responsible. So you get a yes or no really fast. But as this company starts growing, let's say, this mom and pop business has several branches, and then you need to have managers at these locations. So you got the owner over here, and you got the managers over here, and then you have the workers over here. Now, as the company grows larger, then you need to have managers over there. Now, the advantage of this is that the owner is not always available or is not supposed to be there all the time, so the decisions can be made faster by the managers at the local level. And the disadvantage of this could be that there is significant distance between the owner and the workers. So owner might start making policies and procedures that may not be right for the reality on the ground. And these type of situations get worse as the company grows even more. So you got more levels going on. And one of the things is to avoid this trap is you set boundaries or limits. So you have, let's say, managers at different levels. So you are giving them freedom to do things. So you're giving them freedom, but at the same time, you could put limits as to any decision that involves up to $10,000, the manager can do it, and anything beyond that goes to the higher level. So you could set certain boundaries and certain limits to make sure that the bigger decisions are still handled by people at the top. So there are these different management styles and structures, and you can change the structure based on the needs. So let's say if this hierarchical structure is not working, then you could have a structure that is dependent upon either the function. You have different departments, accounting, marketing, so on and so forth, or you could have based on different regions. So you could have one for Midwest, another one for Northeast, and things like that. Or it could be based on, like US, North America division, European division, things like that. So it's based on geography, or it could be based on product slash service. So, all the consumer electronics division, there's a unit for that, and all the people report to that, things like that. So that would be the structure. So for any strategy to be effective, you got to have the right type of people, assets, structure here. And the structure needs to be flexible enough to make sure that it does not hinder the strategy. Now, I was talking about this manager part. The manager needs to, when you are a manager and you're dealing with people, so there are three different levels how you can deal with people. D is dominant, E is equal, and S is subordinate. By default, if you're dealing with people that are under you, you want to sort of go with sort of equal / dominant, with a slightly dominant mode, slightly dominant state. That's how you want to approach people. The reason you want to be equal and not completely dominant is because you want to create an environment where people feel free to talk to you about the issues or whatever suggestions they have. You don't want them to start thinking that, well, the boss is the boss, and I got nothing to say in that, or whatever you say doesn't really have any meaning. So most times you want to be at this level so people are more open to talk to you about their concerns and any kind of their suggestions that might be there that could help the company become even more productive. So when do you want to be a subordinate? When you want to learn something from someone, you want to be over here. So it's, you want to learn something from someone. You don't want to say, hey, I command you to tell me everything about it. That probably is not going to work. So you want to be like more of a student mode, and you want to learn things from the person. Now, dominant mode you want to be in when you want to command somebody to do something. So they respect you, but at the same time, since you're coming from this, you don't want to be like, Maggot, get down and give me 50 push-ups. Not that kind of commanding. You want to be more of sort of, hey, this is what we need to do, and make sure you get it done by Friday afternoon or something like that. So it is coming across as you're not like being threatening, or you're not being, a boss with a big stick, but you are more of, you're telling them what to do, but at the same time doing it in a more friendly manner. And also in the first video, I had mentioned that this is how most of the interactions would be. So this is you, Y is you, O is others, and situations. And depending upon these, you can dial it down or more. So in a situation where your people that work under you are smart and intelligent, so you don't need to command them to do something, you could be more of an equal and you could take their suggestions into account. Or where you have a situation where the people under you are like, people that don't know much or are just trainees, then you can be more commanding in that. So, I mean, that's why, management leadership literature talks about leadership, charismatic, and being a dictator or authentic and servant and all that. Those are all good. You don't want to be stuck in one type of leadership, depending upon the situation. Sometimes you can be like a dictator and you could tell people what to do, and sometimes you could be like more of a democratic and get people's opinions and suggestions and do. Depending upon the situation and depending upon the level of your followers, you want to change it to what is suitable. Never try to be one type of leader. Try to have multiple sort of ways of approaching the problem. And also, as an individual, try not to be a single dimensional. Try to be multi dimensional person as well. And this is, I had mentioned in some of the videos as earlier ones, is you don't want to come across as just one type of person. So some of the dimensions that you could cultivate in yourself would be, one would be like smart, intelligent, and the other would be funny and humorous and telling jokes. And another dimension could be someone that is empathetic and gets the emotions, things like that. So you can cultivate your own different types of dimensions. Another dimension could be one that is a person that is go-getter and wants to get things done. The reason this is, and you want to switch between these different dimensions, is if you're stuck in just one. Let's say if you're always funny, then people think of you as a clown. They may not take you seriously. So if you go from being funny to being commanding, then that's good. So people can still talk to you, relate to you. So you come across as a human being, but at the same time, they're going to listen to you. It's not like, okay, he's my friend, so I don't care. I don't have to stick to the deadlines. Not that. So you can have a personality where people respect you as well as people like you. But those things are important. Okay. So that is regarding the strategy execution. That is very important, because as I mentioned right here, so competitive advantage. So it's once you have a competitive advantage, your company would be more profitable. And you get the competitive advantage based on the quality of your products and services, or either it could be low cost, or it could be something that is unique or something that you provide nobody else does. That's how you get the competitive advantage. And it actually, the source of that, or how you get it, is through capabilities. And the capabilities that you have come from resources that you have. And the resources are the people, the assets, the structure of the company, the brand, the factories, money, and all of that. And if you look under people, then you have people that, the workers or the management, the culture, and under assets, you have these things. I'm just doing a quick recap of that. And you want to hire, if you don't have the right type of people, you can hire the right type of people, people with the skills, or you can train them. You want to make sure that you hire people with the right attitude. Actually, that's very, very important because there's tons of literature on motivation. So the best way to deal with motivation is not to hire people that are not motivated. It doesn't matter how smart they are. If they don't want to come and they don't want to do it and they're not enthusiastic about the job, just don't hire them. And again, this is a point when you go for a job interview, people are actually judging you. I mean, if you don't know nothing about the company that you're going to be interviewed at, guess what? The company that is interviewing you, they get an impression that, hey, this person is not interested in me. As I had said earlier, also, this is the most important channel. What's in it for me? So even if you go for an interview, ask questions that are related to where the company is going, the direction of the company, rather than asking for what benefits you can get and things like that. And also, a lot of you actually mentioned that, hey, I don't have any skills. I'm just, you may not have the technical skills, but you do have life skills. You probably have been babysitting someone, or you probably worked at a grocery store, or you probably, volunteered someone, or you even, you took so many classes. So you have time management skills, or you have organization skills, something like that. Bring that to the forefront. And the more interest you show in the other person and the company, the more likely they're going to hire you. Because trust me, the skills like technical skills, accounting, marketing, all those skills can be taught. And also, let me tell you a little bit about the skills. There are different types of skills. Let's say somebody is hiring rocket engineers or brain surgeons, then yeah, definitely you need to have that skill. Definitely you need to have that skill. But for marketing management positions, you don't really need, people with a background in theology uh, can be in marketing. I mean, people with arts degree can be in management. Okay? Because these are the skills that people can be trained. So most of the times, if you have the right attitude and if you are good on social skills, can talk to people and people are interested in listening to you, more likely they will hire you, because the other skills can be trained. The social skills are difficult. It's difficult to train people on social skills. So social skills are very, very important. Try to develop those skills. Okay. And the other thing is the culture of the company. The culture of the company is very, very important. Make sure that the culture values people that are hardworking and are doing the right thing. There are lots of companies that have the culture of corruption and just fudging the numbers. Wells Fargo is an example of that. So under that culture, most of the good people actually leave the company, and you're stuck with people that are bad for the culture. Anyway, and I did mention this, so you might want to approach a situation from equal. But if you're dealing with the top managers, this is for people that are at your level or lower. But if you're dealing with top managers, you probably might want to be slightly over here, not too much subordinate, but slightly over there. Okay. All right. So we looked at the structure of the company also. So one of the important job of a manager is to make sure that you take input from people regarding your strategy. And I can tell you about a study, Hawthorne studies. I mean, they did studies on productivity, and they increased the lights, decreased the lights, put some sound, and no matter what they did, the productivity kept going up. Even if you have the sound, like melodious music playing in the background, not still it kept going up. So they was confused, researchers. Hey, even if we have no music, the productivity goes up. If we have music, it goes up. Or if we have good lights, it goes up. If we don't have good lights, it still goes up. So what's going on? And the reason the productivity was going up was in those days, people were treated as machines. And the reason productivity went up was because somebody was there asking them questions. Hey, how do you feel about this light? How do you feel about this music? So people felt that they were treated as human beings rather than being as machines. So that's why they were happy and they liked that attention. That's why it went up. So if you ever become a manager, there are three types of people basically you'll come across. One is they just want to say something because they want to be heard. And then there are others that are just saying something because they want to be part of the group. Just because everybody's saying, they want to say something. They don't want to be left behind. And then there are some that are shy, that are never going to say something. And then there are some that actually have good points. That's why you need to get input, because there are a few people that have good points, but at least you'll get some good ideas that you could incorporate. And at the same time, even if you don't incorporate, there are groups or there are people that if they felt that they're being heard, they'll be happier working for the company. Okay, and there are people that just want to go along the group, and there are shy people which try not to be in this category. It's not good if you want to ever be a manager. Anyway, so you want to get input from the people, then you come up with the strategy, and then you make sure that when you're implementing the strategy, you put enough resources to it. That's how your company will become more productive, right? So that's it for this chapter. I just did a quick recap for this. And I just want to tell you that this is one of the important chapters to go through it and look at the things that are going to help come up with a better or execute the strategy better. And in my experience, I've noticed that the people that are actually causing trouble and don't want to do work, there are some great techniques to do that. But I'm not going to tell you in this video. I'll create another video for that. But anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.